So I was cleaning out the back of my drawer and I had one of these maraca things, which I didn't know I had it, but apparently it's a cube with one. But I like it because you don't need any musical talent. You just do this. See, right now I'm a musical genius. Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees. Well, the Yankee train keeps rolling along. You might even say they might be the best team in baseball right now, at least neck and neck with the Phillies. But nevertheless, a lot of good stuff in this episode, a lot of positive stuff. And of course, it seems like every month or every week, a Yankee wins an award for something like that. So if we got a fresh set of awards to get into, not only Aaron Judge, but another player. And we'll also look back at the West Coast trip, really the tail end of it, that series against the Giants. I know it's a little bit of old news there, but a lot of good takeaways in that series. Not only did Aaron Judge tee off in that one, but I'd say that Juan Soto had his quote-unquote Yankee moment there, and we'll kind of dive into that as well. Plus, kind of do a little comparison with Blake Snell and Marcus Stroman. Again, those were two pitchers that the Yankees were considering in the offseason. They ended up going with Marcus Stroman. May not have been so appetizing at the time, but we'll kind of look back that actually turning out to be the wise move there. So we'll kind of dive into the numbers there. Garrett Cole taking a major step back with his first rehab stint in the minors there as he worked his way back into the Yankee rotation. And talking about the minors, we'll also check in with Jason Dominguez as he's also working his way back here. And, he's trying to join this party as well, but maybe there's not enough room for him. And we don't like to do this at Section 420 Talking Yankees. You never want to talk bad about the Mets and kind of kick someone when they're down a little bit. But we're gonna dive into the train wreck in Queens that is the Mets. Not only that may really make fun of them, but that might have implications of the Yankees getting Juan Soto back next year. Maybe the Mets make a push into them, so we'll kind of look at that as well. And of course, Giancarlo Stanton hitting a milestone there as he worked his way to perhaps being a Hall of Fame player there. So we'll got to look at all the stats as well and see if there is a case for him to be in the Hall of Fame there. So as you see, a lot of good stuff there. Want to get started right away, but we got to take a pause for a moment. There is an audio podcast version of the show, so wherever you get your favorite podcast, whether it's an Apple or a Spotify, wherever, look for Section 420 Talking Yankees. This will be something they'll say like, subscribe, follow. I want this. Hit that. Get notified. I know as much as you like to watch the show here, but you can hear me more often, get more of my takes. So make sure you're an audio podcast subscribing. Of course, you're watching here on YouTube. You should subscribe right now. The thing is probably right down there somewhere. Just look for it, say subscribe, hit that, and then of course notify new episodes go on. And of course, you're watching on TV. You got to do both. You got to sign up for the YouTube episode as well as the audio podcast, and you get all this great stuff. Well, if you've been watching the last few episodes of the YouTube version of the show, kind of almost always leading off with Aaron Judge is doing something great, being like a player of the week or setting a new record, in a 20-game stretch of home runs and doubles. Well, we're just going to keep doing that. So Aaron Judge, no surprise the way he just teed off in May, has been awarded the American League Player of the Month of May and just had a tremendous May, compared to the way it was April there. I mean, it's outstanding there. I mean, you was worried about him in April there, but obviously he kind of made up for that and more there. So, of course, awarded the Player of the Month. So we'll just kind of look back at his stats there. So hit 361. Only had 14 home runs, not too shabby there. 27 RBIs in 28 games there. So, so for Aaron Judge, again, kind of made up for it and more for the slow April start. We'll forgive him there. Again, I didn't think there was anything wrong with him as long as he wasn't hurt. I thought maybe he might have been hurt a little bit in just from that injury he had in the spring, but maybe just his timing. It could have been something. But again, a little before that incident where he got thrown out by the umpire there, he was starting to hit the ball a little bit. And then, of course, once he did get thrown out, the very next game hits a home run. And from there on, he's just been lights out there. So putting a campaign together there where, again, he's going to be in the MVP talks as long as he stays healthy for the whole season and doesn't, run through a wall somewhere and break, injure his toe. He's definitely going to be in the MVP hunt there towards the end of the season. So hopefully he keeps that going there. But there's some more awards to give out. Even though Judge was on a tear there, kind of quietly a little bit, but you kind of notice it because every start's been outstanding. But there's also a couple more awards, and that'll be to Luis Gil, the pitcher, who's just outstanding as well on the pitching side there. So he got 2 awards that he racked up with him. So became the American League Pitcher of the Month for the month of May. And, of course, since he's a rookie, the American League Rookie of the Month there. So you got 1 award for Judge and 2 for Luis Gil, again, who was his lights out for the entire month. So we're going to look at his stats as well. So in 6 starts, he went 6-0. and of course outdueling Luis Castillo that game against the home game against the Mariners for at least the Yankees to tie up that series there. So not just doing against nobody, but going up against another team's ace there. So again, good feather in the cap for him. So 6-0 record, 44 strikeouts, and it was able to hold opposing batters to a batting average of .019. So opposing hitters were hitting like 100 against him. That's how good he was. Only gave up 14 hits in 38 and 2/3 inning. And since they've been looking at calculating this since 1913. It's the 7th lowest ERA by a Yankee pitcher in a calendar month. So you look at all the great Yankee pitchers, this is the 7th lowest ERA by a pitcher in the month with a minimum of 30 innings pitched there. So outstanding. Hopefully he could keep it up. Now look, as we know, he's coming back from Tommy John surgery. He's never pitched a full season before in the majors there. So at some point, the Yankees are going to have to limit his innings there. So, and maybe at some point he hits a wall a little bit because he's been just been tremendous. That you figure at some point he's going to struggle a little bit. So we'll see how that all works out there. But of course, this is probably not what anybody expected there. Again, he had a great spring. He won the 5th starter job, but you figure out he earned it. He deserved it. He pitched well. I think it was that final game against the Phillies where he had like 8 strikeouts. It really caught Boone's eye there. So he's just been pretty much lights out the whole way there. But you got to assume at some point the party's going to end with him, just because, again, he's never pitched this long in the major league season, so maybe hit the water. So they're gonna have to manage his innings. They're gonna have to find a way. But it would be great, obviously, if they could just whatever they got to do is skip a start here or there, get him so he could go full way, and then of course there'll be a great weapon, an unexpected weapon to have towards the end of the season there. And of course, with Clark Schmidt going down there, obviously it's imperative that again Luis Hill at least stays this steady Eddie for a little bit long. But of course the Yankees have some other options we could get into there. But again, congratulations to both Aaron Judge and Luis Hill for rocking it in May. Now, the Yankees recently had a West Coast trip, which was really successful. They went 7-2. Really should have been 8-1. If you look at the one game, the first one against the Angels there, the Yankees had the lead and, of course, blew it there. You can blame little Rizzo there. Also blame Clay Holmes a little bit on that one as well. But nevertheless, okay, fine, you lose a game. And, of course, the only one they really flat-out lost, you could say, was the game, final game against San Diego. But other than that, again, the Yankees were really great on the West Coast there. And it's just a really good sign for the team there because it's not easy. You're going across the country there, your sleeping patterns might be different. You're kind of out of your routine and whatnot. And again, even if you're playing lesser talent, you see a lot of teams sometimes just struggle traditionally going out the West Coast, but not the Yankees. It almost seem like they were the home team there each time. And of course, Yankee fans travel well, so a lot of these ballparks, pretty much a lot of times, half or maybe more people might have been rooting for the Yankees at all. But if you want to look at the final leg of that trip, that was the San Francisco series, and just so satisfying in so many different ways. Okay, you figure, hey, it's a regular season game, what counts? But a lot going into the game. Of course, with Aaron Judge, the Giants were wooing him 2 off seasons ago. It seemed like, they almost had a shot of signing Judge there. They were almost willing to offer more money than the Yankees there. And it seemed like, Judge making that final phone call, because we know the infamous story to Hal, I guess when he was out visiting the Pope. And they were able to finally put the deal together. Hal gave Judge that final year, and the Yankees were able to secure Aaron Judge, likely for the rest of his career there. But again, he could have just very easily gone to San Francisco there. Even though I still can't see that as happening, but nevertheless, it was a possibility. So obviously the fans there weren't too happy with Aaron Judge. Now he's a hometown guy, grew up not too far from that place, so this was going to be his homecoming, kind of the first time going to San Francisco since that whole contract situation. And he got a little smattering of boos there, and a little different, never really heard Judge booed that much. I mean, even when the Yankees play in Boston and Houston, I mean, no one really boos Judge, because kind of it's hard to hate Judge. He's just a nice guy there. But again, he did get a smattering of boos. But of course, he teed off in that series, hit a home run. The first game there, 2 home runs, and again, getting another one there in the second game. Again, he just, mashed the plays there. But I think one of the cool storylines, though, was how it ended. And of course, that was the, 9th inning home run for Juan Soto. In the 9th inning, with a man on, the Yankees down 4-5. He hits a big 2-run home run to swing the score to 6-5 there. And to me, I just felt that was Juan Soto's what you call, quote, Yankee moment. Every time you have a big name player coming in here, and then the pinstripes, you'll say, when's your Yankee moment? When you got Chris in there? Great, okay. You could put the jersey on, stuff like that, but you're not a Yankee until you do something big in a big spot there. And, now even though Juan Soto, the very first game of the year, had that game-winning hit off of Josh Hader there in Houston there, at the time, again, that was a big moment. I mean, just to do that in the first game, it was exciting. But I think this one you have to put on the crown as Juan Soto's Yankee moment. I know he's put up a lot of great stats here, had a lot of big hits and home runs and stuff like that, but that home run in the 9th inning, on the road in San Francisco against kind of like a traditional, baseball team there. Again, Padres are like, whatever there. But the Giants, they have a lot of history going back to the New York Giants and even the San Francisco Giants with, Willie Mays and stuff like that. I mean, they have a lot of history there as well. So these are kind of two historic teams going at it. So the setting's cool. You're doing it on the road there. And for, again, him to hit a home run in the ninth inning and a big for the Yankees to do a comeback to complete the sweep there. To me, that was Juan Soto's Yankee moment. So he got out of the way. Now, you can't really expect someone to do stuff in playoffs. They come and go. We'll see what happens there. But I think at least for the regular season there, I think, up to this point, that was Juan Soto's Yankee moment. That was probably his biggest hit, I would say, so far up this season. So I'm donning that as the Yankee moment. Now, you might want to go back to some other Yankee players, kind of some new Yankees players that come in. One was their Yankee moment there. And it kind of seemed like all these other situations, I'm just going to throw three out there, all were kind of grand slams, ironically. But you look at Jason Giambi, 2002. Now, I remember when the Yankees signed him, he did not get off to a great start at all. Again, he was built up as he's going to be the next Babe Ruth and stuff like that, but he struggled early. I remember him getting booed heavily. But of course, that game, I believe it was a Friday night against Minnesota. Now, the Yankees actually blew a lead, went into extra innings there, and then Giambi in the pouring rain there had bases loaded and has a grand slam walk-off home run there for the Yankees to win the game there. That was definitely his signature Yankee moment there. Again, it was a regular season game, but in that moment, in extra innings after the Yankees blew a lead, to get a bases loaded, get a game-winning walk-off grand slam, and it doesn't get any better than that. Tino Martinez, remember he came, of course, in '96 there, replacing Don Mattingly. Now look, Don Mattingly at that point, I think he was kind of at least power-wise was finished. So, Tino came in, same thing. Tino, his first couple of weeks, struggled as a Yankee, was getting some boos, which, look, upside, you knew Tino at that point was a better player than Don Mattingly. But again, Don Mattingly retired, the back wasn't there, he just wasn't the same player. But still, people kind of, he was replacing Don Mattingly there. So there was a lot of expectation of Tino there. He was getting booed early. But you remember there was that big series down in Camden Yards early on. Late in the game, Tino hits a big grand slam. The Yankees take that game and take the series there. And that was Tino's, really, you would say, signature Yankee moment. I think after that, of course, then the fans kind of changed their mind about Tino. And it was kind of really a statement game for the Yankees because, we didn't really know what the '96 Yankees were really yet. I mean, you would say Baltimore and Cleveland was kind of still the favorites in the American League. But that game, that series, and that situation, the Yankees really put their stamp that, hey, no, this is going to possibly be our year there. And Tino hitting that big grand slam. Then after that, it was a love fest with Tino the rest of the way. And of course, last but not least, another good one you might remember, Hideki Matsui. Now, he didn't have to wait long for his Yankee moment. I guess the Yankee opening day at home there, hits a grand slam. Now, in itself, not that big, not that dramatic, but his first game as a Yankee, it seemed like Yankee fans just loved him from day one there. Puts on the pinstripes, and then in his first game, hits a grand slam against those Minnesota Twins. Yankees beat up the Twins all the time. And so, again, he didn't have to wait long at all there. So his first home Yankee game hits a grand slam. That would be his signature Yankee moment there. So, now, no, look, Juan Soto wasn't a grand slam. It was a two-run home run. But given the situation that the Yankees are losing, do the comeback, has a major home run on the road there, and the Yankees sweep that series and have a great West Coast trip. That was Juan Soto's Yankee moment. Another good thing I liked about the Giants series, it kind of it gave the Yankees, I guess, Yankee fans kind of have a little, kind of look back at a couple of the starting pitchers that Yankees were considering. That would, of course, be Blake Snell as well as Marcus Stroman. Now, ultimately, they went with Marcus Stroman, but of course, we got to jump back a little bit. Of course, the big pursuit was for Yamamoto. Now, the Yankees wooed him, pursued him, tried their best. I don't think they really had a shot there. I think, as soon as Ohtani signed with Dodgers, I think Yamamoto's mind was ready to go there as well. Then after that, you had to go to Plan B and Plan C and Plan D. And, of course, a couple of those plans was going to be, of course, Blake Snell as well as Marcus Stroman there. Now, supposedly with Blake Snell, the Yankees were maybe willing to go as long as 5 years there, but again, then you heard that Blake Snell wanted a sixth year, and then at the point, the Yankees took that deal off the table and then went to, I guess, Plan C, which ended up being Marcus Stroman, which you figure is kind of the lesser pitcher than Blake Snell. I mean, both pitchers, both of them on their best day, you'd probably say Blake Snell's the better pitcher there. But the way things turned out, actually turned out roses for the Yankees, because when you want to compare the two right now, Marcus Stroman not even throwing the ball well for the Yankees, but Blake Snell has been absolutely horrible for the Giants so far, and now it turns out he's just recently put on the IL there. So we'll kind of just take a backtrack at both of them, just with the money and the stats and stuff like that. And again, this looks like another win for Cashman there, even though at the time people complained, oh, what are you doing? You got to get Blake Snell. The Yankees will have enough pitching there. Now, I didn't think they were. I mean, even though you heard the rumors of a 5-year deal, I don't think the Yankees were going to go that long on Snell. Again, I know he's had a couple of Cy Young awards like that, but there's nothing about it that wows you. Like certain pitchers, like when Garrett Cole, like wow, you have to get this guy. When CC Sabathia was available, wow, you have to get this guy. Or back in 2001, Mussina was available, wow, you got to get this guy. I just didn't see the wow factor with Snell there, so I don't know how true it is that the Yankees were offering him 5 years, but nevertheless, that's what he wanted there. But they went to Plan C, which ended up being Marcus Stroman there. But again, we'll do a comparison of Snell and Stroman there. And again, it looks like a move that turned out, again, roses for Brian Cashman there. So now Snell ultimately did not get the long-term deal he wanted, ended up getting a 2-year deal. Now, it's stacked up, though, with the money. So it's $32 million per year, and he can opt out after each year. So even though it's a 2-year deal, after the season, if he wants to, he can opt out of it there. So maybe he hopes maybe if he pitches well this season, at least the rest of the season, maybe someone will give him a long-term contract, which I don't think that's going to happen. So, but money-wise, he's making just about maybe twice as amount of the money that the Yankees are paying for Marcus Stroman. Now, Stroman's deal, it's only $18 million per year, only $18 million. But again, it's a 2-year deal for $18 million per year. But they're basically paying Marcus Stroman half the amount that Blake Snell's getting right now. And if you want to look at the production-wise right now again, Snell's on the IL, so he's going to be shelved for a while. But he's 0-3 with a sparkling ERA of 9.51 in 23 and 2/3 innings there. So again, not a large, not a lot of kind of somewhat of a small sample size, but 0-3 with an ERA of 9 there versus Marcus Stroman, who's been again fabulous for the Yankees right now, 5-2 with a much lower ERA, about 1/3 of that, 2.73 ERA right now. In 69 and 1/3 inning there. So you got a player who, Stroman, who's obviously, he's pitched twice as many innings. His ERA is 1/3 of Blake Snell right now. And again, Snell doesn't have a win right now. He's 0-3. Stroman's 5-2. Stroman should be even better than that because there's been a couple of games where Stroman's thrown well. Just the Yankee offense didn't show up. When they kind of had their little doldrums a little bit in late April, this Judge wasn't hitting and stuff like that. So they did have a little bit of offensive funk there. But of course, Yankees kind of snapped out of that and again rolling right now there. So again, this move looks like an A+ for the Yankees to get Stroman, just for the fact. And I kind of, just to pat myself on the back, I kind of think this might happen with Blake Snell because again, it was going a long off season. No one was going to sign the guy. And it's like, well, you even got into spring training. Well, this guy's not going to have a normal spring training. He's not going to be stretched out the right way. Even if he's working out on his own, it's just not the same as being with a team, facing live hitters and going through all the routine. You figure this guy's going to get hurt there just because he didn't have a normal spring training. And what do you know? Now he's on the IL there with a, well, they said it was an abductor injury, but now they're saying it's a groin injury. But nevertheless, he's on the shelf, so it looks like a miserable situation for him. And again, you got to feel, Scott Boras there, again, striking out big time on Snell, Chapman, as well as Jordan Montgomery. Again, the Yankees also considering Montgomery there. It looks like, again, they couldn't put anything together. So the Yankees ended up getting Marcus Stroman, which we figured, is this going to be good or not? You're not sure. You figured it'd be okay, but he's been absolutely fabulous for the Yankees. And you just hope, again, he could keep going along now. Again, he does have a bit of a tradition of maybe struggling in the second half there, so maybe you have to expect that a little bit with Stroman. And I mentioned before, someone like Luis Gil as well, not ever been able to pitch a full season before, so he may struggle in the second half a little bit, but the Yankees should get a huge shot in the arm once Garrett Cole comes back. And again, hopefully it's the Cole we all know. And the aforementioned Cole will finally take a big step in his comeback to join the Yankees this season. Scheduled to make his first rehab start on June 4th, Tuesday. Now it's going to be with the AA Somerset team there. So they expect him to throw about 50 pitches. I don't know if he's going to maybe just air fastballs. I don't know if he's going to do his breaking stuff. But nevertheless, they want a max amount of 50 pitches. And of course, they're going to stretch him out a little bit. Now, the plan overall is to have 2 more starts after that. And then after that, they evaluate him. Everything's all good. No injuries, no setbacks. Then he'll finally rejoin the team. So guess at this point, if you want to do the math, you're probably looking at a late June timetable, which is pretty spot on what they projected, early, when he did go down in the spring training there. And it's kind of remarkable, man. They always give you a date and it always ends up being like a month late like that. So this kind of seems to be on the timetable for him to join the team in June. So that's all good. Again, this goes back to, again, they diagnosed him. There was no tear, there was no breaks, anything like that. Just had a little bit of inflammation and again, kind of a pinched nerve in his shoulder there. So again, they shut him down for a while, didn't throw at all. Then he started a throwing regimen, started throwing off the mound, and now he's going to make the first rehab start. And again, it's kind of good time for the Yankees. And almost the way it all works itself out. And you hate to say this, but sometimes, again, these things work their way out as someone always gets injured, and you figure who's going to be, because you figure the Yankees can't go on normally with a 5-man rotation. Now, last episode, I suggested maybe the Yankees should go 6-man rotation for a while, just because you have pitchers like Schmidt, Heel, who maybe not used to doing a full season, and of course, you got Cole coming back for a rehab, so you might want to go to 6-man rotation. But of course, as you know, things work themselves out. Schmidt goes down with the lat injury, so he's going to be on the IL for a while. The he's not gonna throw it all for 6 weeks, and so his timetable is probably looking about early August. So again, these things always work themselves out. So you knew something was gonna happen where the Yankees were gonna be down a pitcher with Cole returning. And of course, it ended up being Clark Schmidt. So again, he's going to be out for a while. So it kind of fits in now. You have an open door for Cole to come back in, and you'll have a normal 5-man rotation. Now, in the short term, you saw on the West Coast trip, the Yankees plugged in Cody Petit. Those are one of Cashman's little crafty called Dollar Street store move there to pick up the way he's been just picking up pitches off the scrap heap. But again, they've been turning out roses from, kind of like Luke Weaver there. So Cody Petit, then again, getting the Yankees a decent start. So that's the guy you can plug in for a couple starts till Cole comes back. That's fine. So again, the Yankees under no pressure. Just as I mentioned before, Luis Gil throwing lights out right now. Stroman's throwing lights out right now. Rodon's, kind of bounced back a little bit. You hit the bump a little bit. Nestor Cortez mostly good, but still has his doldrums on the road a little bit. But overall, the Yankee rotation in a good spot. Again, right now, collectively, statistically, one of the better rotations in all of baseball right now. So again, Cole could work himself back normally, and then once he's good to go, he'll be back there at the top of the rotation as the Yankee ace. And I guess we'll stay in the minors. And again, another player the Yankees look forward to getting back at some point is Jason Dominguez. Of course, he started a rehab assignment himself, coming back from Tommy John surgery, even though he's not a pitcher. Still puzzles you, but nevertheless, that's what happened. Now, he's doing okay, I think, in 12 games, hitting .348 with 3 home runs and 9 RBIs. So really no plan for him right now. So once the AA assignment ends, he's probably going to go to AAA because, again, right now the Yankees, because in terms of the major league roster, is kind of full. Now, as mentioned before with the pitching, you hate to say this. Sometimes these things solve themselves in terms of someone gets hurt and then he has to come in. You don't want to see that right now because the Yankees getting rocking and rolling right now. Even as great as Jason Dominguez could be, you don't want anybody get hurt and tinkered with. But again, it's possible. The only person he really threatened to take a job away or take a bats away from would either be Verdugo in left or Stanton as DH. But I just don't see right now that happening. You're not going to bring Jason Dominguez here to be a bench player. You're only going to bring him here to play full-time. That's why AAA right now makes more sense for him. Maybe you bring him up here a week or two in August, so maybe he could be an option for the postseason. Okay. But again, you have Verdugo there. You're not going to get rid of Verdugo at this point. And Giancarlo Stanton, you're still paying him a ton of money. And again, he's hitting the ball well. He's hitting home runs. He's looking more like the old Stanton right now. So you're not going to tinker with that. And I think Aaron Judge's job in center field is probably safe. So really no room for Dominguez right now. So him to go to AAA is okay. And then just take it from there. And again, you don't want an injury right now to mess around with the mojo because, again, the team's rocking and rolling. And the mentioned Giancarlo Stanton before, while hitting a huge milestone also on that West Coast trip. A lot of good things happened on the West Coast trip. Hit his 1,500th career hit as a major league player, which is kind of a plateau because, of course, as you know, the magical 3,000 hit there is kind of automatically gets you into the Hall of Fame. Now, I don't think Stanton will hit 3,000 hits there just because, I mean, 34 years old. Now, the Yankees have him signed through 27, and there's an option of 28 there. So, I just don't see it's taking him up to age 34 to hit 1,500 there. Does he have another 1,500 there in only about, the remaining time of this contract? Probably not, and I don't see anyone signing him after 2028 there. He'll probably be done with baseball there. So, but doesn't mean he can't have a Hall of Fame career. I mean, if you want to look at some of his numbers there, again, there's a lot there for him, even if he doesn't get 3,000 hits. Of course, you look at the home runs there. He has 416, so very well will hit the 500 home run milestone, again, as long as he has no devastating injuries the rest of the way there. So, now, again, that's not automatically to get your Hall of Fame in years past there, but for Stanton, there's never been any allegations of him with any substance stuff like that, so I think his 500 would get him in there. And again, a lot of the good stuff. The career batting average, 258. That's not great there, but they're going to judge players differently than compared to years ago. So, years ago you had to be like almost close to 300 batting average. Well, 258, again, it's a different time there. They don't look at batting averages up there, so that's not really a big deal. 5-time All-Star, 2-time Silver Slugger, and he does have 1 MVP trophy there up on the case there. So, so I think Stan, as long as he stays the course a little bit, he'll hit his 500 home run at some point there. And of course, with some of those other accolades, being a former MVP, and you got to say he's one of the more feared hitters of this generation there. So I think he will get the Hall of Fame. I just don't think he's getting 3,000 hits. I guess everything's roses for the Yankees right now. The only thing you might be worried about a little bit, not a big deal, is Anthony Rizzo. This seems a little bit fuzzy, not only in the field as well at the plate there. Remember last season, again, he was hitting close to 300. Everything was looking roses. Then it has the collision at first base with Tatis Jr. Again, it took the Yankees almost a month and a half to diagnose they had a problem there. Of course, had to shut him down, came back this season, was good in spring, and had a decent start of the season, but still you see him struggling a little bit. Again, I don't say it's been terrible, been weighing the Yankees down, but again, there's still something with him a little bit. We made him see him make some defensive miscues in the field there, because you look at the San Diego game as well as the Angels game there. Again, probably, at least the Angels one probably cost the Yankees a game there. It doesn't seem like the same Rizzo. Something might be a little wrong with him. So look at his numbers at this point right now. Again, not terrible, hitting 240, 7 home runs, 25 RBIs. Again, it's not garbage. On-base percentage of .301. So he's still getting his walks. As you know, Rizzo stands over the plate, still gets hit by pitch a lot. But you look at his OPS, it's .661. Now, Judge is like over 1. So again, his slugging and stuff like that is down a little bit there. And again, we've seen some of the miscues in the field there. So you got to say, he's in a little bit funk. He's still working his way back from last season. Again, he missed a large chunk of last season just with the concussion. So is this maybe a fatigue thing there? Because, again, he's had been out of baseball for a while. So remains to be seen. And you even see, of course, now DJ is back. You saw Boone actually pull Rizzo for a game, give him a breath there, and had DJ play first base, which, again, this is good for both DJ and Rizzo. May give Rizzo a blow there. So, again, everything going okay for the Yankees, but you got to just worry about Rizzo a little bit. At the very least there, even if his offense is down a little bit, you can't have him making miscues in the field there. Again, you need him to be a Gold Glove caliber first baseman. He only has 3 errors there, so I don't think you worry about it. But again, we see him bob a little bit there. So again, the Yankees have to keep a little eye on Rizzo. Just hopefully nothing's wrong there. Because again, before he got hurt last season, he was hitting 300, but right now it doesn't seem as close to that. So something might be off with him. As promised at the top there, we'll dump on the Mets a little bit. Not for glee, but again, it does have an implication for the Yankees and their pursuit of Juan Soto after this season if they choose to keep him in pinstripes there. And mainly because, the Mets right now are an absolute mess, at least at this point. 24-35, 11 games under 500, and this is all going to hell over there. And you said Edward Diaz blowing games. He gets demoted there, which you got to kind of feel sorry for him. Had a devastating injury last season, which pretty much decimated the Mets really at the end start there. Comes back there, and of course, not pitching well. Then you have Lopez, throwing his glove into the stands and then saying he's on the worst team in the majors there, and then it kind of has to backtrack a little bit, so it was a lost in translation thing. So everything's a mess for the Mets. So right now, again, the reason it has an implication for the Yankees is that a quick solution, a quick fix, something to make the fans happy, because they're pretty pissed off right now, would be getting Juan Soto there. So Steve Cohen, I think, is going to be a very aggressive, this coming off season, if Soto's available and the Yankees don't somehow lock him up during the season, the Mets are going to make a hard push for him there. So we'll see how it all works out there. I know the Yankees and Hal mentioned that they would like to keep him a Yankee for life, which, again, I was kind of surprised he said that, and I think he means it, because I just sees the potential of this lineup. We have Judge and Soto back-to-back. It kind of gives you, you look back at 85 there when you had Mattingly and Winfield back-to-back going for the MVP. Well, we could have that for the next 5 years with Judge and Soto hitting next to each other there. So I think Hal sees that. The fans love Soto. I think Soto loves being a Yankee, but of course, money is money there. So I don't know if the Yankees are going to commit maybe $500 million to this guy, whereas the Mets, they're going to be desperate. This is like 3 miserable seasons in a row for them. So they're going to, he's going to need a quick fix there. And what's a better quick fix than signing Juan Soto there? They also got to make some other decisions regarding Pete Alonso. But still, I think Soto was satisfied the Met fan there, at least, for the short term there. So the Yankees got to, probably might compete with the cross-town rivals to remain, to keep Soto in pinstripes there. So we got to see how it shakes out, see how the rest of the season goes along. Again, Soto's left the door open to say, hey, look, if you want to talk business now, we can. Traditionally, the Yankees don't do that, but we have seen the Yankees do that in certain situations for special players. Again, they tried to sign Aaron Judge originally before in his final year there, but Judge said no to the deal. We've seen the Yankees try to negotiate with Robinson Cano during his final season in pinstripes, but again, he didn't like the deal there, so he ended up going ultimately to Seattle there. So will they make an exception for Soto? Will remains to be seen. It'd be nice to see Soto here. There's still a part of me that doesn't think the Yankees are going to sign him long term, just because they're paying a boatload of money to Judge. They're paying a boatload of money for Stanton still, and he's kind of the latter part of the year. Are they going to commit to a guy at 12, 13 years with Soto? I don't know. It's possible there, but I think the Mets are going to make a strong push there, because they got to do something. They can't just tear the whole thing out and start over again, because then you're looking at another 3 or 4 seasons of no postseason aspirations. The Met fans not going to put up with that. So Steve Cohen, I think, is going to go after Soto hard. So that's the episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to the Yankee Podcast, both the audio one and here on YouTube, and we'll catch you next time.